welcome back. And we want to say thank you for tuning in this morning. And we hope that you're as excited about this conversation as we are for today. It is graduation season in Belize. There are tons of parents who secretly cry when they think about it. There are tons of kids who are saying, thank goodness it's over. And we have 3 students here who are most proud because they have earned the top spot in the graduating class from their respective institutions. And so we get to have a conversation with them about how they got here, what it means for them, and what's next. So with us, we have valedictorian for Belize High School, Caitlin Haylock. In the middle, we have Ashton Tillett, who is the valedictorian for Edward P. York High School. And on the end, we have the valedictorian for St. Catherine Academy, Paula Ruiz. Good morning and welcome.
Morning.
And congratulations.
Thank
See, I get excited for you when I think about it. But, you know, Kevin was sharing that he was actually a valedictorian of his class, and I think that will give him great insight into what it takes to get to this position. But for the rest of us, I mean, I think there's a lot of assumption of the amount of work and sacrifice and giving up your social life completely to be able to earn this achievement. And I want you to share with us your own personal path as to how you were able to earn the top spot at your school. Was it a goal set out, or was it just something that naturally happened with your dedication? Let's start with the gentleman in the middle, Ashton.
Well, for me, I had a goal. And as I came into high school, I knew that I wanted this. And so I put in all the work to get to this spot. So, yeah.
So you topped PSC and you said, you know what,
Yes.
I want to top high school too.
Exactly. So I knew that I was capable of doing it. I just knew that I had to put in the work to get there.
Yeah.
And I had to be persistent and consistent.
For me, it was a goal as well. All throughout primary school, I was always like the A+ student. I was always up there. So when I started high school, I was like, you know what, I can do this too. So I set out the goal to be able to achieve this at the end.
When I came in first form, actually it wasn't a goal. I just wanted to get through the transition of moving from primary school to high school. And then I actually came out like first in my class, and I said, if I could do it in first form, I'm pretty sure I could like top the whole graduating class. So I put in the work, and here I am today.
What type of work are we talking about? I mean, I'm sure it came with a lot of sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like what? What did you have to sacrifice?
Sacrifice my sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for right now, I'm studying for my CXCs, and I'm up all night studying and just getting everything prepped for the next day.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to do it because I know what I want.
So nobody has to wake you up?
No, I'll wake up myself.
Is it the same self-motivation from the other two, or we have an extra push at home?
I mean, it's like 4 alarms every morning to make sure I could get up. But you get up and, you know, just get through the day every day. Try to work towards it.
You know, for me, in primary school, I was valedictorian of Grace Primary, thanks to Miss Gloria Edwards and the teachers there. But I was a problem child. And it took her in particular, Miss Gloria Edwards, a principal, to take me under wings and to inspire me. Getting here as valedictorian, could you talk to some of the people who inspired you, helped you, a teacher, a friend, a mentor, who assisted you, in addition to just schoolwork, to say, Paula or Ashton, this is the extra push to distinguish you academically? Who was that person, or who are those persons?
For me, it was it is my grandmother and my aunt, but they are both deceased, and they always used to tell me, we know that she's capable of so much greatness. And so going into second form, I was like, I know that I can do this, and if they were here, they would be happy to see me up there giving a valedictorian speech and so on. So they were my extra push besides everybody else.
Well, for me, most of the teachers at my school are behind me every day and motivating me to do this and to do that. And the thing I like about the teachers at my school is that they're focused not only on the academic aspect of a person's life, more of as their social or emotional aspects. And so that really was something that I liked.
For me, it was my parents, but along with at school, it was Mrs. Usher, my principal, and along with a bunch of my teachers as well. And like Ashton said, the teachers at school for me weren't only focused on my academics, but they were making sure that, you know, everything was okay with emotionally, mentally, just getting in all the work. And it was really nice for me to have that extra support system behind me, knowing that, you know, there were my teachers there pushing me to be able to achieve this and always there to motivate me whenever I needed it.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I think the assumption very much is that people who are very driven by academics, that they don't balance out their life. You know, they're all books, they're no fun, they don't play sports, they don't go to dances, they don't hang out with friends. How true is this?
I say it's a real assumption, because for me, throughout the 4 years, while I was still dedicated to books, I still was able to go out with my friends on the weekends, Friday evenings, hang out at Coral Bubbles, or, you know, go to school dances here and there. So
We'll get the plug.
So you tried to make that balance. Was it something that they had to encourage you to do, or you just wanted to have your own outlet?
yeah, for me, it was just my own outlet. You know, because being valedictorian, you have to really put in the work. So it was a lot pushing with books and keeping that. So, you know, it did get overwhelming at points. So I just wanted to make sure that I had my own balance in terms of, okay, I know I could relax Friday evening, just hang out with my friends and...
In my first and second year of high school, I wasn't balanced. And so I realized that it was having a toll on my emotional state. And then in third and fourth form, I had an excellent...
It's harder.
Exactly. I had an excellent class, and we're fun, but we're smart. And that they really helped me to loosen up and to realize that I have to be balanced.
Yeah. And how do you strike that balance? What do you do other than books?
Well, I have my friends who I hang out with at school and at home. Sometimes I just take a walk down after I come from school, or I just go to the restaurant and buy something to eat.
Okay.
In second form, it was really easy, like just to go out with friends and stuff. But of course, in third form, it just got harder. It was first year of your majors and so on. So I really put a stop on my social life. I didn't really go out, and in fourth form I realized I shouldn't be doing that. So I picked up photography and started learning how to play the guitar, and start going out with a little bit of friends here and there, and that was just...
I want to ask you about another balance. Smart people in the class, which you are the uber smart people in the class, you're like the top of the class. There's a social problem, because your peers say, okay, he or she is a teacher's pet, and how does being the top person in the class affect your social relationships, your friends, and the way they deal with you, and the way they perceive you, and how do you balance that? Because every young person wants to have friends. I want to be popular. I want to be cool.
Human nature, you want to have.
So how do you balance off the envy and the jealousness? It is, everybody wants to be the top student, but not everybody's going to put in the work that you guys did, or not everybody has the ability that you guys have. So how do you balance the jealousy that people have, or your peers might have, and your natural ability and your drive to be valedictorian? How do you balance that?
For me,
Or it doesn't exist? Tell me it doesn't exist now.
It does.
It does. For me, like, it was there, but what I tried to do was not to let it seem that I was all up there with my friends, but instead I tried to reach out to them and say, you know what, if you need help in this subject area, I'm always there to help you. So they realize that, okay, she's not only up there focusing on herself and getting all the academics, but she's also offering her knowledge and her support to help us push as hard as well.
Yeah, that's in my case also. Like, I'm humble enough to help my classmates, and I'm humble enough to be there for them. And they realize that I'm not an enemy, I'm not someone who's selfish. And because of that, jealousy and envy is not there, or it's not to that extent.
Yeah.
I mean, people always used to compliment me, oh, you're so good at math, oh, you're so good at chemistry, and everyone's nightmare was chemistry. And it was like, well, I need to help them. Like, if I know how to do something, why should I be excelling and others shouldn't? So I tried to help, and of course that jealousy was still there, and I tried to help, and if they wouldn't want my help, well, I would just, you know, be like, okay, well, before we take a test, I'd pray and say, hopefully everybody passes, because we don't want Kim to be the reason why we fail or something. So.
But, you know, I had a different experience from what Kevin is talking about. My classes were always extremely competitive, and sometimes the person who comes out on top, it's like 0.2%. And it's just extremely competitive. Did you have that in any one of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What does it do? I mean, competition can go both ways. It can sometimes make you relinquish and say, well, they'll get it and I won't. And for others, it can be a big driver. Talk to us about how you use competition within your classrooms.
Well,
I had this one girl in my class, and she's my competition, but I have to tell
What's
her
her
that-
name?
Alexandra Furman, and she really pushed me to go beyond my limits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Were you
she's-
friendly?
Yeah, we were friendly.
Okay.
But we were secretly, I want to get a higher grade in unit test.
like LeBron and Steph Curry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, in third form was when the whole system at SCA changed, so you could actually see how much someone could get higher than somebody else. And so I actually placed first, not with only other 10 people, but it was only me. And another girl was like, I'll come back harder, don't worry. And then that was like, wow, okay, I didn't expect any of that. And so it was just like, well, I'm here now, I shouldn't give up. And so it just drove me to do better and better and better, and
Yeah.
I never gave up.
For me, in freshman year, my first form year of high school, there was this one girl that was in my class, but then she transferred later on, and she was like really my competition. So that for me was like, we were friends, but you know, it was always there like, you know, okay, I'm gonna do better than you on this test, or I've gotta try to get higher.
Yeah.
But for me, I kind of just used the competition to drive me because I knew I could have done it. So for me, that was just an extra drive to keep pushing and make sure that I got up there. And then when she left and the years went by, the competition was still there, other students. But you know, I always just try to remember that and try to use that as a drive.
Can you talk about technology? I mean, for a lot of other kids, technology is actually a distraction. I mean, even my little daughter, you send her to do her homework, and that iPad goes to Netflix quickly. How did you, did you use technology to assist you to give you an edge? I'm gonna leave it as simple as that.
Yeah, for me, social media didn't distract me at all. I had my social media accounts, but that was more like recreation, like let downtime on the weekends.
Right.
But during the week, for me, we actually use our laptops at school a lot at BHS. So for me, it was like always trying to find those additional resources that the teachers would pull into the class, and trying to find those on my own as well to help me find those additional resources or whatever to help study for a test or prepare.
That's the same thing in my case. And also technology was a distraction, and I had to know how to balance out myself. Hey, this amount of time I'm gonna set aside for this, and then I'm gonna set aside this amount of time to study. And
Time management sounds like
exactly.
a very common theme that you all are
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
Do you feel that this is something you just naturally had, or it was taught to you?
I think it's developed.
Yeah.
Because you know
Yeah.
you want this goal, but you have to do this to get that. So.
Now, I want you to share a part of your high school experience with me, because we don't want to give the impression to people that this was all roses getting here. And one of the things we know that can happen with people who are as successful as you are with your academics is that it's very challenging when you don't hit a goal, you don't hit a target, you fail something, or you don't do well. The failures can be devastating. Tell me about a moment in high school like that, where you forced yourself, obviously, because you are valedictorians, to overcome the failure.
In my first year of high school, and in first term, my competition, Alexandra, she got a higher grade than I did, and I was upset. And I decided that, you know what, I can do this. And I told her, you know what, I'm gonna beat you. And she said, in your dreams. And it turns out that I came in first on the top after the first term had finished.
Poor Alexandra doesn't have a chance to respond. Yeah.
It would be literature for me. I honestly don't like reading, and so it was definitely a challenge for me. But my friends are always there to help me, and I said, well, thanks, because I really need that. And I pushed myself towards do it as well. During the summer, then I would say, okay, I actually need to start reading, and my dad would be like, okay, now I'm gonna quiz you on this, and this, and it was like, okay, I guess that's how my summer's gonna be from now on. And it actually really helped, because now I actually do like reading, and I can actually analyze it, and so.
For me, it was my junior year, my third form year with IT. I had been doing well my first and second year, but the third year we had a new teacher, so it was trying to adopt to her teaching styles as well. So it was kind of a rocky path for me, and I wasn't performing as well as I used to in the class. And that kind of did devastate me a lot because it's like, okay, I was doing so well, what's happening right now?
Yeah.
But I reached out
You
to
blame the teacher.
I don't know. I didn't blame the teacher. I didn't blame the teacher. What I did was I reached out to her and I was like, Miss, I'm really struggling in the class. I used to perform this well. Is there any way, I could get that additional help or tutoring after class to be able to do well?
Yeah.
And she actually offered to help me do tutorials. And the way she did it was a way I wouldn't think about it, but it really did help. Where instead of her tutoring me, she got the weaker students in the class and had me tutor them as a way to reinforce what I was learning through teaching them. So I realized that really did work a lot, and I started performing a lot better in the class. And up to today, she's like one of my biggest motivators trying to get through.
Sometimes academics, particularly when you're driven to be the number one, sometimes it can be it can be focused inward. I want to know what, apart from academics, is a passion for you? What social issue for you? You look at it and say, you know what? I'm going to use this superhero brain that I have and the superhero drive and discipline that I have, that when I get all of this, because education is just a means to an end, but I'm going to use my academics to deal with this issue. As soon as I'm finished with all of this, I'm going to deal with this issue. What is that issue that drives you apart from academics? Or that gets your attention? That's the way it starts.
Well, for me, it's gun violence. That's what my speech is based on. Because as I look around, I see teens and youth killing up themselves, and I think it's devastating to the country. And so my speech is about addressing this issue and giving advice to the graduates and what to do, and to know that high school, you weren't exposed to all of these things, and you're going to sixth form now, and there's going to be a lot of temptation. And my speech is about addressing these temptations and knowing how to overcome them.
Ms. Ruiz, I'm interested to hear.
Mine
I
would
say
be
Ms. Ruiz because I went to school with, is your uncle Nicholas Ruiz?
Nicholas.
Who was a savant. He had a very successful post-academic life. He entered into politics and was successful as well. And a very nice gentleman. So I'm interested to hear.
He just added a whole lot of pressure there. Right?
I'm used to it, but mine would be mental health. Like, people, whenever they're sick, they would always go to the doctor, but if they feel sad or something, they feel that they have to keep those emotions to themselves, and that's actually more damaging than talking to somebody else and you being afraid, oh, they might go say something. So even if you have to talk in the mirror and just get it out, you have to do that. And many people don't know that. They see that showing your emotions is a weakness, and it's not. It can actually be very helpful. And so after completing all of my studies, I do want to combat whole campaigns, just talks, and I really want to address mental health. It's a very big problem that people don't see.
Wow.
For me, it's more kind of on the artistic side, because a lot of people would say the valedictorian wants to do something academic-wise, but for me, I want to go away and study fashion designing and the arts. And I know that in Belize, there's not the industry here that really supports it. So for me, that was really a drive for me to continue on with this career choice, to say, okay, I'm going to go as far as I can to get the education in this field and come back home and inspire those young students, because there are a lot of young talent here in Belize. There's a lot of raw young talent. But because there's no industry here, they say, okay, I can't really do this. I'm not going to get supported. So they back away from their dreams and they turn to something that they don't want to do. And it's a real issue, because why would you do something that you're not happy with in the future? So for me, to be able to go as far as I can and then come back home and show them that, you know what, somebody did do this, and to be able to be just a role model and inspiration for them to not give up on their dreams, but to keep pushing as hard as they can to realize it.
And you're already on that path. You've already acquired a scholarship to go ahead and further your... Tell us about the school you're going to. What you're going to study?
I'm going to the Savannah College of Art and Design this fall. I'm majoring in fashion designing, and I applied last year, 2017, in the fall, and I got accepted the Christmas, so I was very happy about that. And then I got a scholarship of $20,000 US per year that's renewable.
Wow.
So it's gonna help.
I just saw your face light up when you told me that. Can I just say that? Your eyes went... And that's great, because that's what you're talking about with your passions.
Yeah.
I've heard something here that's really important to me, and I want to reinforce it. You've spoken about coming back home. and working here. And I want to tell you, we have a serious challenge with some of our most brilliant minds leaving, and quite naturally, you go into a workplace that wants you as much as Belize needs you, and people will stay and develop themselves there. At this point in your life, where do you see yourself putting your skills, your talents at best use?
In Belize, I think Belize
Knowing
needs-
you'll make less money, knowing it'll be challenging to get the knowing the top decision-making post. These are realities. That's okay with you?
For me, it's something that I love doing. Fashion designing is a passion that I've grown with. So for me to be able to just come back home and to work with it, it's a passion that's driving me. And just knowing that, yeah, sure, I may be making less money here in Belize, but knowing that I'm helping an industry that could potentially develop into something greater, that's just going to be all the drive I need.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about doing what you love and not focusing on the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would come back, but I would spend some time here, and because, as I said, mental health is a big problem, not just in Belize, but worldwide. So I would try to spend some time here and then go to other parts of the world. So
So what do you want to
I
be?
do. A psychologist.
A neurosurgeon.
A neurosurgeon and fashion designer. Now, let me go to one more issue before Kevin jumps in, because he'll divert the conversation. But we're very critical of our young people in this country. We've had multiple conversations here on the set with various young people. And many will say that it is the truth, and maybe you will say the same now. But our young people are very much, they seem to be out of touch with the realities in Belize. You know, they know what's happening with the Kardashians, but not so much with downtown Belize City or in San Pedro or whatever other area. They don't know the poverty, they maybe don't know the social issues, the environmental issues. And you being within your own environment with the academic talents that you have, what do you think we as the adults in society are missing in building that connection for young people to be interested in what's happening in the country?
I think a lot of times when adults try to educate on the issues, it's more like, okay, we'll give you this lecture and we'll tell you this, this, and this is happening, and try to expose you like that. But young people today aren't necessarily the ones that want to sit down in a classroom or whatever and hear about the issues. They want to learn about it in a more advanced and modern way than the actual old school way. So I think where the balance comes in, or the bridge sort of comes in to build with the gap, is just trying to find a way to address young people and to target them, not in the old-fashioned way, lecturing, but try to find a more modern way of addressing it to them and getting the information to them. And I think through that, then it'll start opening their eyes more, because they'll be learning it through a way that they see, I don't know how to say it, acceptable, quote unquote acceptable in their little world. So.
Anything different? Yeah?
Like Helen said, you can't just be giving them a lecture and expect them to absorb everything that you just told them, especially if it's like a 5-year-old or something. And yes, there are now like 10-year-olds getting hurt on the street and stuff. So you have to find a way how to appeal to a 10-year-old, even if that's you and your husband or you and your sister or whoever, just making a video to try to show them. You don't ultimately have to go to a production studio and do it. You can do it right at home, just have like a skit or something. And
Yeah.
And I think also one of the ways that we did it at high school was that we do at Belize High School, we do the MOAS, the Model OAS debate conference in Washington, D.C. And a lot of times it's a very expensive trip, so some of the students can't attend. So what we did this year recently in March was we did it at school, a leadership conference, where we kind of brought MOAS to BHS and presented on different issues that are facing here in Belize, like rural poverty, drug abuse, different categories within the school. And we actually had the students get in groups and research it and pretend that they're these world leaders here, these country leaders here, addressing these issues and trying to find different ways for them to solve it. So I think if the schools try to approach it like that, in terms of trying to get like a conference or something to build the students' interest, that's where the help could also come into play.
And as you guys said, technology is an entirely huge part of our lives. And I think a good way to address the youth of our country is using technology, having presentations, having social media competitions to advocate for some issue that's affecting our country.
So from your knowledge, what are the national issues that actually make it into the realm of teenage conversations? Are we,
Yeah.
do you have conversations about corruption, gang violence, Belize Guatemala issue, sexual violence against women? What issues make it into your teenage friends' conversations?
The Guatemalan Belize dispute.
That's been one?
Yeah, because I think the youth are realizing that it's going to affect them directly, more likely. And I think we're addressing it because we're aware of that.
Anyone else?
Same with us here. It's more likely that issue, and a lot of times with the gang violence and the teenagers getting involved in violence. I mean, at school we look at it like we're not necessarily a part of that, but when we see it happening to peers our age, it's like, okay, wow, this is happening to people just like us out there, you know.
I mean, every theme that you brought up comes up in our conversations because many of us watch the news, but even the teachers themselves try to get into our conversations, like when they're just walking and they hear, oh, they're talking about this, so
We
we'll just
wanna
call
hear,
on
yeah.
We-
Yeah.
So they call on us like in the middle of the class, and then we would just all have a conversation. Like in social studies class, it's something that would happen a lot because, well, it relates to it.
So what are your thoughts on the Belize Guatemala issue?
Yes.
If you were allowed to vote, and none of you are voting age, in the referendum, do you feel that you can make a decision about whether or not you want to go to the ICJ?
Not necessarily what the decision would be.
Yeah,
But do you have? Yes.
For me, my personal decision is that knowing that there are documents out there that we do have our borders, this is our borders for me, I would vote not to go, just on my personal opinion, because it's kind of a tricky thing to think about it, but when you really look at it, we have all these documents here outlining our borders. We know what our borders are. This is a country that's coming in to claim our country as its own, as if Spain had settled here and claimed here, when really it didn't. You know, there are all the documents there are all the research and stuff there. So for me, it's like, I don't see the need to go when our borders are defined and we have it documented.
Interesting.
With all of those documents there, I think we should, if the evidence is there, why should we be afraid? And I mean, like, you do have to take your chance. It's our country, and you have to show that you can take a stand for what is yours. So we have to tell the people that even though there are many who aren't educated about it, we need to tell them that, yes, it's scary, yes, we may lose or something, but there's always that possibility. There's always a win
Coffee,
and a
we don't like
lose.
losing.
I would vote to go because it's our border, and I think we should just get it over with and let Guatemala know that this is our country, this is our Belize, and back off. It's ours.
Any other issue?
You know, I have to stand in the moment and feel proud. Very articulately, you put what your current position is, and very articulately you put what your position is. Currently, as we speak, my alma mater, SJC, is organizing a debate amongst the students. And because the whole of Belize is watching, the diaspora is watching, and I want to say on behalf of them that I feel proud that you guys have taken a very mature, measured approach to this, and that you guys are speaking about it, because as you said, this really issue, I have less time to deal with it than you will. I'm 40. And so I feel very proud, and I hope that you guys continue amongst your peers, because the vote is happening next year, and as Marlon said, you guys probably will not be in the vote. But we feel very, very proud that our best minds, because you guys are our best minds, have considered and have very measured, informed views on it. I wanted to say that to you guys.
I'm happy that you can have different opinions and sit
Yes.
next to each other, because it seems to be such a challenge in this country. I also want to give you an opportunity. You're on national TV. I wanted to talk a bit about your speeches, but we're quickly running out of time. So I see the speech as an opportunity. I know that you have specific themes, and you talk about issues, and you talk about experiences, and your hopes and your dreams, and inspire. But right now you're on national television. You have Belizeans from across the country, outside Belize, other people who just love watching Belize TV watching, leaders, decision makers. If you could tell them one thing about what you as a young person in this society feels, needs, wants, demands, what would it be?
For me, the youth of our country, I want you to know that before you pull the trigger, before you draw the knife from the scabbard, know that you have your teachers behind you. You have your parents and your families behind you who love you and know that you have a lot to lose. So make the right decision.
For me, it's there's always gonna be times where you're gonna get knocked down, where you're gonna feel like, okay, I can't realize my dream, but know that you are the sole decider of what you want to do with your life. You are the only one that can make a path for yourself, and always try to follow that path. The ahead may be long and unforgiving at points, but just know that there are people behind you that will always support you, and to always strive for excellence in what you do, because I think striving for excellence, if you always put that goal in front of you, if you always have that motivation to, okay, I'm gonna do better, I'm gonna try this, you're gonna achieve your dreams.
My advice would just be do whatever you happy. If it's even just to be a garbage man, then go ahead and do it. Maybe other people may not believe in your dreams, but know that I am here believing in you, and even if it's just me, you can do whatever it is that you want as long as you put your mind towards it and you work towards it. And as Caitlin said, there will be challenges, there will be bumps, but in the end, it'll pay off because you will be doing what makes you happy, and that's what we all have to strive to do in this life.
Wow.
All right.
I'm sold.
And so the speeches are completed, I'm told.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody coming out with something hard-hitting? Are we going inspiring? What's the theme?
For me, my speech is mostly gratitude, just thanking everybody for being there, but a lot more on reflecting on what my 4 years was like, building a family at school, and just trying to give one piece of advice to my graduating class once more, to always strive for excellence, like I said, in all that you do, and make sure you
As I said, my speech is about gun violence and drugs and peer pressure and all of that. I'm excited to give my speech, and I just want youth to know exactly that. Like I said before, to know that you're loved and know that you're appreciated. And also to support that in my speech, I'm motivating my youth, my graduates, to always strive for perfection. And this is the perfection bar. And you shoot for it, but you won't always get it. You'll fall right underneath it. And right there, that's excellence. And excellence is almost as good enough.
I kind of forgot what we were talking about.
Speeches.
Your speech, giving.
And yours, and usually they're vetted too, so you
Talking
well,
about your speech without giving the spoiler alert, you know? Don't give away the
Well, I won't be at the graduation. I don't mind the spoiler.
Just giving thanks and very inspirational. I try to make my speech not about myself because I'm not the only one who's graduating. Trying to give my message and to just tell them again, just to do whatever makes you happy. And if no one believes in you, I believe in you.
All right.
Inshallah.
This has been a great conversation. I wish we could have done the whole show with you guys, but we're out of time, and they keep on telling us that over and over. But thank you, congratulations. You put in a lot of work to get here, and we didn't focus on that part, but we know it. We feel that it's understood. So we wish you the best of luck, and we have lots of hope in what you all will do for yourselves, your family, your alma maters, and for us in the country. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And enjoy graduation. It's a fun time. We're going to go ahead now, though, and take our final break. And when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up. So stay tuned.